All right, so my name is Katie Whalen, and I have the distinct pleasure of being your MC for this lovely event. So I am class of 2007.5, and back then there was no social innovation initiative. There were just a bunch of entrepreneurial students doing a bunch of entrepreneurial stuff without any real formalized institutional structure. And then the Swear Center hired Alan Harlow, and we students heard about that, and we thought, you know what, let's bring Alan over for dinner and let's have a conversation with him. So we brought Alan over for dinner, and being students, it was a fairly classy spread. I believe I brought pretzel sticks and nacho cheese dip. And over boxed wine, Alan asked us, what do you need? And we knew what we wanted. What we all wanted was money. But what we needed was a deeper kind of support. What we needed was community. So Alan listened to us, and then he walked off into the night. And 8 years and a whole lot of heart and hard work later, the Social Innovation Initiative has become the powerhouse that we all know that it is today. So I want to talk just a little bit about what social innovation actually is, because I think it's a term that gets bandied about a lot, but I don't know that we necessarily understand what we mean when we say social innovation. So social innovation is the pursuit of transformative, innovative, and sustainable solutions to social problems. And the Social Innovation Initiative here at Brown does that in 4 different ways. So every year, C engages hundreds of students through a variety of different activities on campus. So it's students pursuing their own social ventures, it's students pursuing social innovation through extracurricular activities, taking classes in social innovation, and then also pursuing jobs and internships in social innovation. So it's an incredible ecosystem, and it's an incredible community. And I can tell you from my own experience, it's incredibly important. So I want to tell you just a little bit about what brings me here today. And then we've got some excellent stuff lined up for you. So 2 months ago, I was a senior foreign policy advisor in the US Congress. And it was kind of an important job, but I had noticed that there was a very important problem. And the problem can be summed up in 3 words: doubt, fear, and convention. I had seen so many people who were beaten down by doubt, fear, and convention to the point where they didn't see themselves as capable of being change makers. They did not see themselves as capable of being the people who were going to come up with the transformative, innovative, and sustainable solutions to make a difference in this world. In short, they felt they were too small to make an impact. And the reason that I could see that problem is because I struggle with those feelings myself. I know what it's like to feel too small to make a difference. And at the same time, I know how big the problems are that our world faces. And they are so big that we cannot afford to play small. Because to change the world, to make it more just, to make it more equitable, we each have to rise up and be the big, impactful people that we were meant to be. So I, like so many of you in this room have done, decided to do something about it. So I started writing, I built a website, I left my job in March, and I followed my gut to Brooklyn. And 1 month ago, I launched the Lightning Notes, which is a short daily post to help us move the world forward. And it features striking ideas and big stories to remind us that we matter and that improving the world is our matter. So I've never done anything like this before. Never launched a website. I've never written for a living. I have never lived in Brooklyn. But Brooklyn has influenced the way that I dress. I would not have worn this in DC. So I'm a white belt. I'm a total white belt. And this is a big risk. But it would be a bigger risk not to do it. Because the Lightning Notes, for me, is my social impact statement. It's my solution. It's my effort to help us be the big people that we can be and to make this world the bigger place that we can and that we need it to be. And if I've learned anything from my time with C, It is that our lives are too short to spend doing anything less than making this world a bigger place. And I am so excited to be here today to celebrate a whole bunch of highlights from what C has been doing on the front lines in that vein. So 2014 to 2015 was a big year for social innovation and entrepreneurship at Brown. President Paxson updated the university's priorities to include innovation and entrepreneurship. There were 3 major alumni events around social innovation in New York and San Francisco that brought together renowned speakers and gave Brown a chance to share its social innovation story. And there's going to be a 4th one in Los Angeles next week around how storytelling sparks social innovation. Now, there's something else, which is the Embark Fellowship, and I think a lot of you probably know about that. But Embark is a 1-year fellowship that enables people who have just graduated to pursue their social venture for 1 year. And C was able to raise money to provide funding for 3 ventures, and students raised over $107,000 from over 600 donors, which is pretty phenomenal. So then the last piece that I want to share with you that I think is very exciting about where C is going is the social innovation entrepreneur in residence, social entrepreneur in residence. So this is a partnership with the Tubman Center for Public Policy, and it is an individual who is going to not only support students and teach, but he or she is also going to work on their own venture of their own design. So there have been about 20 applications. And some pretty qualified individuals, including 2 Echoing Green Fellows, 2 Ashoka Fellows, and folks from a bunch of different countries. So it's a collaboration, it's part of a broader collaboration with the Tubman Center for Public Policy, which has also helped to create the social entrepreneur, I want to make sure I get this name right, Alan. So the undergraduate track in modes of social change. So this has been a blockbuster year for social innovation at Brown. And I could talk until I'm blue in the face about it to you, but instead, I think it's much more important that you hear about it from the social innovators themselves, from the students. So we have 4 students who are going to kind of come up and share their stories. And we are going to start off with Andrew Kaplan. Andrew, are you here? Nice, Andrew. And Lauren, whose last name, Lauren, what is your last name, Lauren?
Begum.
Begum. Okay, so Andrew and Lauren, come on up. The floor is yours.
Hi, so I'm Andrew Kaplan. I'm a senior about to graduate in, I guess, 1 day now. Yeah. Which is crazy. And I'm the co-founder, and I was the chief action officer for Common Sense Action, which I co-founded with one of my best friends and partner in crime, Sam Gilman, who you'll hear from later. And what I want to talk about is how this community, the community that's become such a big part of my life, has really helped me grow as a person. So I started as a sophomore. I remember very vividly, Sam and I were looking for a home on campus. We had this idea, and we didn't really know what to do with it. And so we walked into everyone's office that we could think of. The political science department didn't want to take us. The business community didn't want to take us. And finally, we came into Alan's office, and Lizzie was there as well. And we had this conversation about, how can we get this started? And we explained our idea. We were like, we want to organize millennials. We want to bring them together to work on politics, to fix this broken system. And they were like, sounds great. Let's sign you guys up and get you guys started. And I remember I didn't really know anything. That's not to say I know anything now, but I feel like I've grown in such an important way, not only from the experiences I've had, but from the people who've been around me. And I'm looking around and I see all the different fellows in the room right now who I've shared a ton of experiences with, from Lauren and learning about food waste, Amelia, who's coming back, learning about languages and how to organize on campuses. And it's really a special part of my life that's I've been able to share with so many people. And from that moment when I was a sophomore, I've also been able to then give back in a way that has really been special as well. Part of that transformation has been becoming a leader of small groups as well as TAing the class that's associated with the Social Innovation Fellowship. And I remember there's one moment that really, to me, symbolized what this community was all about, which is where I was leading a small group, and I remember there's a student who he was just starting his venture out, and he was running his first pilot program. And we had worked on this for a while. We've been trying to figure out what was the best way to execute this pilot program, him, me, the rest of the students in the group. And he finally got a chance to do it, and he came into class the next day, and he was beaming from side to side and told us all about it. He was like, this is the most successful thing. It showed exactly what it needed to do. Everything's going to work out perfectly. I remember not only me, but everyone in the room was just so excited because we were all psychologically invested in each other's ventures. The way that I like to think about it is like, my venture is kind of my baby, but all of the other people's ventures are like my nephews and my cousins and my nieces, and we're all part of this really big extended family where you feel that. You feel their failures, you feel their successes, and you take part in it in a really special way. And that to me has been sort of the defining part of this fellowship, something that's been passed on from cohort to cohort, not only just the ones who have come before me and my own class, but the people who will come.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren, and I was in the same social innovation fellowship class with Andrew. And yeah, I just am there's nothing else in my Brown experience that compares to being a part of the social innovation initiative community. And I think it's so similar to what Andrew was saying, is really about the community. And for me, I was working on a project called the Food Recovery Network, which is, like Andrew said, all about food waste. And in the fellowship, I learned so much and constantly am learning so much. And I think the biggest takeaway was just like building confidence in our own stories and our own ability to make an impact in the world. And I think what it's so closely tied to is having all of these people deeply invested in what you're doing and listening to you and having hard conversations about the work you're doing, and also really exciting ones too. I was also a TA with Andrew for the course that accompanies the Social Innovation Fellowship, and the course and the fellowship together was a huge learning experience for me and a great way to meet so many people. And the most memorable moment was watching a film called Good Fortune that we're assigned to watch in the class. And it's about development projects in Kenya and kind of the sometimes troubling partnerships and the hard work and that goes into working with communities. And I just remember freaking out when I watched it. I said, oh my gosh, wow, we really need to think like so critically about our work and reflect on it continually. And I'm so grateful that I had the C community to do that work with. And I vividly remember the class discussion about the film when I was a student in the class, and it was so great 2 years later to have a discussion again with a different group of people about it. So having these 3 years together in the community and seeing the span of growth that happens and continually happens, and having the space to do that work was quite a blessing. So I'm excited to keep moving forward and to stay in touch and to continue supporting our nieces and nephews and all of the people that are a part of this great community. So yeah, thanks.
Super. Thank you, Lauren and Andrew. And now I want to bring up Alan Harlem, who is the Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and Lizzie Pollock, who is the Assistant Director of Entrepreneurship, to present the Community Student Leadership Award.
Hi, everybody. I have 3 days at Brown each year that make me about as happy as a person can ever be. The first happens in early December when the Social Innovation Fellowship comes together to reflect on the entrepreneurial journey of our Social Innovation Fellows. And what you hear when the fellows stand in front of their peers and in front of their friends is the incredible gratitude that each of them feels for the contributions they've each received from their peers and their friends. The second happens about a month and a half later when we welcome the next class of fellows into the Social Innovation Fellowship, usually around a large table eating dinner followed by a small circle, sharing our stories about where we've come from and what we care about, and what we hope for in the world ahead, and what we're afraid of that we might not be able to do. And then the third is today, the day before commencement, when we gather as a community to remind ourselves of the power of relationships, the power of community, and the power of networks. We also gather today to recognize extraordinary leaders in this community and how they've made their contribution to making this community what it is. And it wouldn't be that way without them. My name is Alan Harlem. I'm the director of the Social Innovation Initiative. And I've been here since 2007 when I was given a fancy title and not much direction, but the charge of helping students explore the world of making change through the lens of innovation and entrepreneurship. When I arrived, as Katie told the story, I was encircled by a community of students that I now refer to as my co-founders. This community was co-created by a group of visionary students who who had dreams of making the world better, and who understood that what was needed was to transform Brown's network from one that got together at reunions every 5 years to a powerful network of change makers who would be there to open doors, to solve problems, and to support each other when going forward was really difficult. And they designed this event. This event was first done by this group of students, including Katie, to share their stories with the Brown community and to help just to help actually model the community that we want to have. And there have been some extraordinary events where alumni who just saw this on the program came by and realized that a young student who is graduating who had hopes and dreams could only be unlocked with the person that they knew, and were willing to make that introduction or open the door or lend a helping hand. And so it's in the spirit of this founding vision of C that we created the Community Leadership Award. The award honors our graduating seniors who are building community, embodying our values, and modeling them for others. The people we recognize are knowledge seekers, relationship builders, and risk takers. This award is selected by the students in the community through a nomination process, and while the nominations this year called out the incredible strengths of the people that we're about to introduce you to, this year in particular, the comments about the people that were being selected were actually not about their individual work, but rather how they built this community. And that was really, really exciting. So I'm going to talk about our first awardee, Lauren Begum, who just spoke to you. So Lauren was a member of the 2013 Social Innovation Fellowship class working on the Food Recovery Network. Lauren's passionate about the environment and social justice, and she saw food waste as a vehicle to bring those two ideas that were important to her together. So she dived in and she helped launch what's now a national nonprofit that organizes students on dozens of campuses. Hundreds of students are involved, and thousands of pounds of food waste are diverted from the waste stream into the lives of people struggling with hunger. But what impresses me most about Lauren is not the size and success of her venture, but rather her search for knowledge and ideas that would truly solve the problems in the world that she was passionate about. She has a thirst for answers and a determination to make a difference, and she's always searching for a better, more innovative way that will actually make the difference she seeks. She's also, and she mentioned this, she's also been part of the glue that holds this community together. She's been an incredibly generous and nurturing member of the community as a mentor. So when she was a fellow, she was at every event. She was always listening intently to her colleagues understanding them, understanding what they were struggling with, but also sharing, also putting herself out there, being vulnerable to help them understand that they weren't alone, but also helping them solve problems. This year, actually for the last 2 years since being a fellow, she's been an active mentor in the community, and this year she was a TA in my class that I teach with MJ Kaplan, leading social ventures. And I just want to read you a quote from one of the nominations that came from a student in that class. So Lauren has embodied the C community values since her time as a Star Fellow 2 years ago. She is a critical thinker about innovation and impact, and a huge supporter for other members of the community when they are faced with challenges in their ventures and lives. Also, as a TA for leading social ventures, she continues to dedicate her time to fostering the next generation of innovative thinkers at Brown, even though she's not working on a venture anymore. To me and many others that she has mentored, Lauren represents leadership in the social innovation community at Brown. So I want to ask you to welcome Lauren and congratulate her for the community leadership.
Okay. So we couldn't decide. There were equal nominations for 2 students, and so we were never going to choose. So we decided to give out 2 community leadership awards this year, and so our second one is going to Natasha Blackadar, who you'll be hearing from actually in just a few minutes. So when I first met Natasha, my impression of her was that she was incredibly thoughtful, warm, and open to learning. And of course, these impressions have not changed at all in the last several years since I've known her. Throughout her time as a fellow, I think Natasha struggled a bit with the fact that her venture was less developed than her peers' ventures. Her venture was based in South Africa, and so there was some distance and some other sort of challenges that she was grappling with. She was a very deeply committed and active member of the fellowship community, but didn't always speak up during our workshops. And I felt like she didn't really feel like she had a clear voice because of these challenges related to her venture. And then something happened which led her to find her voice. Probably not in the way that she would have liked, but unfortunately, Natasha's venture didn't work out, which was a very difficult experience for her, as it would be for anyone who had poured her heart and soul into an idea, who had built some strong relationships, and who cared deeply about respectful and community-based development work. When she published an emotional and provocative blog post on our website entitled, "I Have Failed," it was clear that something had started to change for Natasha. After this quote-unquote failure, I think many people would have simply checked out of this community, but not Natasha. Natasha has been a devoted and generous member of this community throughout the last 2 years, and I think that one of the students who nominated her can really sums it up just beautifully. So this student said, "Natasha is endlessly willing to give up her time to mentor, to serve, to celebrate, or to just listen. She passes on her expertise humbly and without expectation of reward, giving careful consideration to the impact of her advice and actions. I have felt Natasha's support for the last 2 years in conversation and in her consistent ability to just show up, to be present." A few weeks ago, I attended Natasha's thesis presentation where she put her work in South Africa into a broader context of development work. She asked some tough questions of her colleagues in development studies about the purpose and ethics related to this field of study at a place like Brown. And when I heard Natasha's eloquent words and saw her ability to frame her own more negative experiences for a broader purpose, it made me realize just how powerful this woman's voice is, and how excited I am to see where she brings that voice, that generosity of spirit, and that crazy capable skill set wherever life takes her. So we also wanted to recognize Natasha today for another hat that she wears in the Social Innovation Initiative. Every semester, we hire a student to be an active member of our team, someone who shows up every week to our weekly team meetings, who comes to all of our quarterly strategic planning retreats, who listens and advises from a student perspective, who can bring new ideas to the table, and who keeps us in line. So for the past 2 years, Natasha has been that person, that student on our team. She's the woman in charge of coordinating and producing all of the social innovation initiatives, digital media, and digital communications. So that means if you've ever found a fellowship or internship through our newsletter, if you've been invited to a campus event on Facebook, if you have had your work celebrated or retweeted on Twitter, then you have Natasha to thank. You've been helped by Natasha. And it can't be stressed enough how important this work is, because at the end of the day, we're not just talking about tweets or likes or open rates. We're really talking about how to reflect back the values and ideas of a vibrant community so that students and alumni see themselves in our work. And how to connect and activate that community so that all of you can go about taking on that complex task of changing the world. So it's not only her meticulousness, but also her humor, deep compassion, and ability to listen that make Natasha such an incredible team member. We all trust her like a colleague. We really believe in her talents, and we're going to miss her a lot around the Swear Center sunroom table. So in the spirit of her work, I wanted to share the top 5 moments we've had with Natasha over the past few years. So number 1, the time we thought it would be helpful to do another Thunderclap campaign because it's so easy to get 100 people to agree to do something on social media. Cut to Natasha individually tweeting out and texting everyone we know with a smile until we reached our goal hours before the deadline. Thanks, Natasha. Number 2, the time Natasha put together a beautiful multimedia report that explains the entire model of our Social Innovation Fellowship, which allows funders and alumni and colleagues on other campuses to learn more deeply about our work and allows us to brag in higher resolution. So thank you, Natasha. Number 3, the time Natasha decided our newsletter had way too much text, redesigned it, wrote snappier, shorter copy, and the number of people actually opening it and reading it almost doubled overnight. Thanks, Natasha. Number 4, all of the times Natasha has responded to our emails and texts at any hour of the day whenever we needed her, going above and beyond the hours she was expected to work at the Swear Center desk and never disengaging, always putting the needs of our team first. Thanks, Natasha. And number 5, woo! Yeah. And finally, number 5, the time Natasha made all of us cry, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 seconds. So thanks for teaching us what it means to live this work. Thank you, Natasha.
So Natasha, actually don't go anywhere because I have an award for you. And my award is you have the opportunity to come up and speak and share your story. And Sam, come on up. And these are the last 2 students we'll hear from. So take it away. The floor is yours.
Am I first? You're first. Okay. Wow. I guess you guys know a lot about me. So I will make you all cry now. I would like a show of hands. How many people in this room remember the first time they walked into Alan Harlem's office? What about Lizzie's? Great. Okay, me too. It's a definitive moment in the path to a social innovation fellowship, pitching your idea to Lizzie and Alan for the first time in eager and nervous anticipation. For many of us during the fellowship, Alan and Lizzie appear to be superheroes. Or better yet, unflappable social entrepreneurship experts who always know the right thing to say and the right questions to ask. But I've had a unique experience at the Social Innovation Initiative, which Lizzie explained, because my venture didn't work out, and I had the chance to join their team and work part-time in communications with Alex. So being part of this team, as Lizzie said, or maybe Alex said it, I don't know, it means that I've attended a 1-hour team meeting every week for the last 4 semesters. And through these meetings, I've been part of many conversations about strategies for community building and exciting new initiatives, but I've also realized something important. This is gonna sound weird, but I mean it as a compliment. Lizzie and Alan are real people, not superheroes. Realizing this was sort of like that moment in elementary school when you realize your teachers don't just sit at their desk all night waiting for you to come back, but they actually have lives of their own. So what I mean by this is that in addition to being functioning members of society, Lizzie, Alan, and the rest of the C team accomplish superhero-like feats on a daily basis, from advising panicking social innovation fellows to fundraising hundreds of thousands of dollars to launching new and exciting programs to support students who are passionate about social change. In fact, Alan even does all of this from a treadmill desk. And the way they accomplish this is not through superpowers. It's through passion and commitment and their belief in all of us. So through our weekly meetings and their constant support, the Social Innovation team has been a core part of my community at Brown. But through their dedication, passion, and hard work, they have built this community for all of us, to grow and learn and fail, and to gather together at the end of every year to celebrate each other. So I hope you'll join me in thanking Alan, Lizzie, Alex, Joe, and Hillary for believing in the power of this community now and for many years to come.
So I too will be talking about Alan and Lizzie, and I haven't worked as much with Joe and Alex and Hillary, but this community that you all have built is, and look around. Hearing Katie say that it started with 7, and Alan, we were at your house honoring the seniors who've been a part of this the other night, and you said to me that there were 30 people who you and Lizzie and the program has had a meaningful impact and relationship. That's 7 years, from 7 people to 30, and those are just seniors. And now we have growing ranks of social innovation fellows. We've got people who participate through your 2 classes, and we're talking well over 100 people every semester. And Katie, you were talking about how on Capitol Hill you were seeing fear, doubt, and conviction. And I was sitting there thinking, I think I have the 3 words that social innovation here at Brown has, which is hope, conviction, and, well, of course, innovation. And when we walk into your office, when we have an idea, you all, the team, and all of us as fellows for each other embody those 3 words. Offer that hope when things aren't going very well or when we have a new idea. Help us channel the conviction that we have in our vision to change the world, to change the way we learn about languages, to change the way we deal with food waste and the way that we deal with imperfect vegetables and other foods and all of the other activities that different fellows are working on at the moment. That's hope, conviction, innovation. And I know that we're talking about this year as a blockbuster year for the Swire Center and for the Social Innovation Initiative in particular. But what makes this community and what makes the group of fellows and what you two do so special is that underneath the blockbuster, there's social innovators, students, teenagers, young college students. We're having also all of the other emotional things that go along with starting a venture, being in college, and having to do homework while you're working on a problem that's bigger than school or bigger than what you're here for. And I think you both help navigate that flawlessly. Alan, I've worked with you as an advisor, not only in the Social Innovation Initiative, but also with our Meiklejohn advisees. And Alan, for those of you who don't know, Meiklejohn advisors are those who help freshmen, introduce them to Brown, and there's a partnership between a student and a faculty member. And Alan's had us over to dinner at his house 3 times. I never spoke to my advisor once after the first day in school. And the impact that it makes on the group that we have is unbelievable. One of our advisees came up to me last night, wished me congratulations, best of luck, and said just how meaningful it was that we were always together as a team and that we could have a relationship outside of what she expected from school, and that nobody did that. I think, Lizzie, I had a tough time this year with some transitions with Common Sense Action, which I think in classic fashion, neither Andrew and I really introduced, but we are the first bipartisan advocacy group and think tank of and for millennials, expanded nationally to 40 campuses, and then had some trouble with our model. How do we do this right? How do we organize to make an impact beyond just having a chapter or presence? And we were having some transition issues. How do we make this last beyond us? And Lizzie helped work through that, but she brought me over to Shabbat dinner a couple times and just was that superhero and real person at the same time. So I'll close with asking if anybody's wearing the socks that we got for Alan on his birthday. 'Cause
So, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Natasha. Lizzie? Yes? Yes? Yes, okay. So, because this is a room of movers and shakers, obviously people have some ideas. So we're gonna open the floor up to you to make pitches. And I know we've had a couple folks sign up, but I believe we can spare a little bit of time for folks who didn't sign up, who have just been so inspired by the awesomeness in this room to come on up and share your pitch. So you have 30 to 60 seconds, and now if you signed up, can you raise your hand? Nice. All right. Well, come on up. The floor is yours, and if anybody is so moved, you can also come on up. Are you giving me a knowing look? Like you want to come up? Oh, come on up.
Everyone should just stand in like a line.
Yeah. What I do is line up right here. So you want like line up right next to Amelia. Oh, that's great. Anybody else? I love it. It's dynamite. Yeah. All right. So the floor is yours. Take it away, Amelia.
Hi everyone, I'm Amelia. I graduated last year, and I'm the founder of the Student Language Exchange. So only 7% of American college students study a language. That's 7 in 100. And 95% of those students are studying a Western language. Well, that's not just building a language deficit, but a cultural one. A deficit in understanding different people and different cultures and where they come from. Especially those cultures, those regions that are facing the biggest political, economic, social, and environmental challenges. So at the Student Language Exchange, we built partnerships at 6 universities to run programs in languages like Bengali or Somali or Vietnamese, 30 more so far. So right now, I live in DC and we're working to bring SLE national. We're hoping to expand to another 6 universities in the next year. We're running a crowdfunding campaign right now, so if anybody wants to donate, we're really close to our goal, and you can just search us Student Language Exchange. Thank you all for coming and for being a part of this community, and I look forward to chatting more at the reception.
Take it away.
Hi, my name is Yalitza Jean Charles. I'm a junior at RISD, and I'm founder and creative director of Healthy Roots. Healthy Roots is a toy company that designs dolls and storybooks that combat internalized racism and colorism among young girls of color. Colorism is a social hierarchy based on skin tone. It's basically when lighter people are shown favoritism over those with darker complexions, and those with darker complexions experience mistreatment and rejection. This impacts young girls' personal experiences and their self-esteem, and can lead them to using chemicals on their skin and on their scalps, to alter their hair texture and skin color, which can lead to cancer and other dangerous health effects. We want to combat that by teaching them to use natural products and wearing the hair naturally. And by naturally, I mean the texture it grows out of their heads. So our dolls teach them how to care for their hair, and we have storybooks that teach them about these different hairstyles, whether it's an afro, or Havana twist, or bantu knots, because no one should feel less than because of the color of their skin or the kink of their hair. We are actually finalists in the Mass Challenge Accelerator program, so from the support of the Brown Social Innovation and Fellowship and the RISD eShip community, and we're going to be launching a Kickstarter this August, and we look forward to bringing beautiful dolls to beautiful girls.
So unlike Amelia and Yalissa, I'm going to make my pitch very simple and sweet. My name is Lynn. I'm a graduating senior from Brown. 2 years ago, I co-founded a social venture with my best friend, Myron Lam. It's called Soy. So at Soy, we work and we wanted to engage the ethnic minority community in the Central Highlands of Vietnam in the supply chain of a production of a healthy juice. and in which the main ingredient is a Vietnamese indigenous superfruit called gap, and we want to introduce this fruit into the U.S., at the same time engage and empower the ethnic minority farmers in the Central Highlands of Vietnam. So Myron and I are going full-time on our venture after graduating tomorrow with the support from the Embark Fellowship at the Social Innovation Initiative. So that's a big step, and thank you everyone at the Sweater Center for making that happen.
Hi, I'm Khalil Fuller, and I make math fun. I started an organization, and we partnered with the National Basketball Association to create a fun math enrichment tool for elementary and middle school students across the country. And we're now in over 650 schools, reached over 40,000 kids. I graduated last year, and I'm doing it. Like people, like we're and it's all because of Alan, really. So my organization is kind of cool, but I want to tell two quick vignettes about Alan. So we also talk about what it means to have a supportive community, but just putting a real spotlight on an actual example. I want to tell two. So the first is what is hard? What is failure? Failure is having to fire your first employee, which is what I had to do. And calling up Alan and grappling with this and saying, what should I do? And in classic Alan fashion, he won't ever tell you the answer. And it's so infuriating because he knows the answer, but he won't tell you. And what he will do is walk you down a path so you can come to the answer on your own. And so that was one moment where I absolutely just needed you and you were there. And the other one was actually yesterday when I needed him and he was there. I got in at 4:30 a.m. on a flight from Colorado and got into Providence about 5:15 and didn't have anywhere to go, and I was pretty tired. I couldn't check into the dorm here until noon, so I texted Alex, I know he's an early riser, hey, can I come and crash at your house? And he texted me back one text, yes, sent me the address, and then said, upstairs, it's the blue bed. Simple. And then I saw him when he was making breakfast a few hours later. So anyways, thank you for everything. Again, NBA Math Hoops is my venture. I'd love to talk to you guys more about it. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Hannah Lippy. I graduated in 2010, and these guys are all very slick. I'm very impressed by them. I'm a little more disheveled. I spilled food on my dress while I was eating and standing up over there. I don't really have a pitch. I have more of a hunch. And I have this hunch that I just want to share with you guys, and kind of, if you have any ideas on it, let me know. So I've been working in environmental and education policy for the last year, and kind of have been in the nonprofit environmental sector since I graduated from college. And something that I have been grappling with as a woman in what I'm doing and working in government, and also just having friends who work in, as we all do, every field, every industry, is trying to really think about how do we get at this idea of spurring women leaders. How do we start powering women leaders into every field and every industry? Because where I work in a lot in education, and that can be a very female-dominated zone. But it's hard for me to see where else could I go in government, in tech, in anything. I don't feel like I have real role models in what I'm doing. And having worked in the policy sector, I'm not feeling that that's my particular spot for impact, because government policy change is really, really slow. So I have this hunch that women need mentorship, women need strong networks of role models, strong networks of supporters to help power them into whatever their next career change might be. And so I have this idea around connecting and creating more women leaders through kind of transformational, authentic experiences. And I'm from Colorado, I'm a big adventurer, and so I have this bias towards adventure. I think outdoor adventure and outdoor experiences offer truly transformational ways to both connect with people in really meaningful ways, but they also teach you kind of individually these great personal traits, with risk-taking or being comfortable with ambiguity, being just willing to try something new and expand your horizons, which is something that I think is really powerful in stepping into any leadership role. So I just have this hunch that what if I took recent grads from Brown, maybe Bolt, women leaders from Brown,
and connected them with like high-powered women in tech or something like that. Brought them together on an outdoor adventure where they can really build meaningful relationships with each other, but then also, kind of take on these new individual emotional risks. Like, what if that happened? I would love to like hang out. There are definitely women out there who I'm like, I'm too scared to talk to you, but like, what if someone introduced me to you and we could go like fly fishing together? I'm literally so pumped. So that's my pitch. My punch.
Hello everybody, my name is MCK. I live in Beijing. I graduated in 2004. Questions are a really important thing to me, and Khalil actually helped give my pitch already by talking about the way that Alan walked him through a process where he was really thinking about something that was on his mind, and he really needed somebody to ask him questions to come up with that answer on his own. So, similar, I have a hunch, at the very beginning of my journey of this conversational experiment where if you were to talk to a stranger for 10 minutes about something that was on your mind, and they would ask you questions about what was going on and help you sort of unlock that door, open that door with a key, what would that be like? So that's the question. How could a 10-minute conversation with a person that you've never met before, don't know each other's background, would never even see, how could that change your life? How could that give you clarity in something that you're thinking about and help you move to the next level when you're thinking about something that matters to you? And how could that person who's asking questions also feel the same type of feeling because they had that opportunity to help another person get to that next level? So, MCK, nice to meet you all. Come talk to me.
So thank you for everybody that had the courage to come up and pitch. That was utterly dynamite. And now I have my last pitch for you, which is that we are the average of the people that we spend our time with. And I have gotten so much from this community as a student in it, and now as a mentor and an advisor and someone who is perpetually learning from it. So we have the room for a little while longer. Stay, meet people, connect with people, find Lizzie, find Alan, find Alex, and find out how you can continue to be a part of this community. Because community is so transformational. So my name is Katie Whalen. Thank you all for being here. It has been such a treat, and go out and kill the world.